Hello, everybody. I am Sun Psychic Jean, and please welcome my very special co-host, Marissa from Earth to Marissa.
Hello, guys. Happy to be here. Excited to dive into this conversation. We already got started a little bit.
We're already into it backstage, everybody, and I
Mhm.
want to tell you that, Marissa, if you wouldn't mind, how about if you remind everybody where they can find you? You do a podcast, and tell them what you do and where everybody can find you.
Yes, thank you. So I am a YouTuber, content creator in the spiritual realm. I do a lot of channeled messages from galactic beings, and I was actually considering with that question you brought forward backstage, maybe we should bring in the Octurian Light Council of Six that I channel and like see what they have to say. Good morning, Lewis. Nice to see you. And so yes, I channel a lot of galactic beings and different energies, angels, and I do videos on YouTube, Earth to Marissa. And then I have the Earth to Marissa podcast where I interview spiritual leaders in the community. We have real conversations for collective expansion. Sun Psychic Jean has an episode on the Earth to Marissa podcast. So definitely go check that out. And then I also give Akashic Records readings. One-on-one meditations, guided meditations, light language healing, galactic healing, distant Reiki sessions as well. But I have Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, Earth to Marissa on everything. So connect. I would love to say hey to you all and just deepen my roots in this community.
Wonderful. Thank you for doing that. And all of Marissa's links are below in the show notes below. And Marissa is just beyond her years with wisdom, and she has been remembering who she truly is in an authentic, energetic vibration, and um, just she's been following her heart. She's been following her instincts, and like a lot of us, sometimes there were things earlier in our past that have caused us to go inward and to do some self-examination or self-reflection to see who am I truly. And it's just beautiful, beautiful, the information and the authenticity and the wisdom that comes through you when you do your channeling, and also when you are just not just, but when you are Marissa. It's just so beautiful and authentic, and it's so natural. It's really just very beautiful. I enjoy watching you, listening to you, and I'm just in awe about how much you have been courageous to step outside of that comfort zone. You know, that comfort zone is easy to get comfortable in, but when we push through, what's on the other side is just magnificent.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That actually means a lot to me. Because I still am expanding that, getting out of the comfort zone. Especially on Instagram, just I've a fear has come forward that I've noticed of being seen and being vulnerable, and being seen as, the galactic goddess that I am, with people that have just known me from my past. And I was telling my partner last night, I was like, it feels like I'm on a cliff right now. And like, there are thoughts and fears coming forward and telling me that below is a rocky like shore, and like if I jump it's not going to be good, the sharks are going to come, the rocks are going to hit. But my soul and my spirit is saying no, you need to jump. And then like when I visualize that timeline, it's like my mermaid tail grows. And then there's like fish all swimming around me and like a mermaid community, and like the water's warm and it's beautiful. And so it's interesting to just be aware of, yeah, the comfort zone and how holding you back, like we were talking earlier, the resistance that can come when you live in your authenticity. It wants you to take that next step, and then when you don't, or you decide to stay in that comfort zone, you feel this like this contraction within your being, because spirit knows there's more for you. Your higher self, your future self even, is like pushing you, trying to get you, maybe not pushing, gently nudging, trying to get you to that place of expansion, and the place where you've asked to go to. And you're human, it's dealing with those, that programming or all the fears or just the mind logistics of it. When so a lot of lessons on just like surrender and continuing to stay in that authenticity has come up. So that it just means a lot that you feel authenticity move through me, and you
I can
just
see you're doing your work. You're doing
mhm.
your homework. You're doing your self work. You're, not afraid to dig in there and see what it is that the fear is, or see what the resistance is, and to challenge it, and to examine that, and to work past that, and to rely on your knowing of who you truly are in order to find a new perspective. And it's just really, it's brilliant. I really love having these types of discussions with you, Marissa. You are brilliant. And I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Hi, Lois
Mhm.
and Deanne. Play, love, remember, the Divine Universe. So nice to see everybody. Yep.
I
Nice.
love
Yeah.
that. Play Love Remember said having the opportunity to practice courage. I
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people in the collective are activating their courage codes right now. Courage codes are coming through, and it's like, okay, are you going to keep playing it safe, or are you going to embody that courage and take this next step into something in the unknown that could lead to greatness?
And it's not only unknown, but it's the uncertainty was what I was coming up with.
Mm,
And, the uncertainty is letting go of control. And
yes.
us having control, we're certain that when we do this and this happens, then this is the result. But when we're uncertain, we still need to walk our path and to have faith. But the uncertain and the unknown is where the magic happens, for lack of a better term, is where the transformation happens, is where we move into our letting our spirit lead us. We have a soul's vibration inside each human. And our soul's vibration is very creative. And our soul wants to express itself in creativity. And when we let the soul lead, this is what like lifts us, what brings us joy, um, what our passion is. This is our soul leading us. And when we allow this soul to lead us, it brings us into this uncertainty and the ego says, oh, you're not certain. You're not certain. Why are you letting that soul lead you? But your soul will lead you. And it's important. It's a practice of letting things a little bit at a time. I asked Marissa if we could talk in like a kindergarten kind of, you know, uh, stage of how we get from here just to get started into there. Like, where does the crossover start? And it's in that allowing the soul in creativity and getting into that unknown or that uncertainty. So have you ever had experiences of uncertainty?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, so many. I think the biggest lesson for me, and I know that this might not be feasible for everyone, I did van life for an entire summer for 3 lives, or 3 lives, 3 it felt like 3 lives. 3 months, 3 months. I lived out of a vehicle and decided to travel to the West Coast, and that was the largest experience in surrender that I've ever had. Not knowing where you're going to sleep at night, not really knowing like food, water. We were like moving through parks the entire time and experiencing nature. But there was like so much unknown and uncertainty. And I'm kind of one I've noticed in my experiences, spirit allows me, like they just kind of drop me in with the sharks. And that's how I learn best. Is they just kind of drop me in. But I think it's leaning into the moments of unknown. I remember this moment. We were, I think, on the Oregon coast, and the water is like freezing out there. I hadn't touched it yet. I hadn't touched it, but I was like, the waves were coming, and I was sitting close there and my feet were in the sand, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to close my eyes, and I don't know when the water is going to hit. I don't know what temperature it's going to be. I don't know how my body will react, but I want to experience this unknown moment, this moment with the unknown, and feel then and validate that, okay, I am safe. Like, yes, the water came up. It was freezing, but like, I'm still here. I'm safe. I got a little giggle out of it. And the unknown doesn't need to be scary. That is really like just leaning into those everyday small moments of the unknown. Maybe like ordering something and not checking when it's going to arrive, but just trusting, like letting go of that control. Don't look at the shipping tracking, and just like allow it to show up for you, and put that trust in spirit, starting to build a trusting relationship with something greater than yourself. And even maybe if you're moving through deep emotions one night, just calling upon your team and trusting that they are holding you and they are helping the experience. And then once you kind of get good at feeling, you can really feel, oh my gosh, no, there's a team here with me right now, like supporting me through these unknown emotions that I've never allowed myself to open up. Like if you've never allowed yourself to really experience the depth of your emotions, sit and lean into that unknown of what could be there. Lean in and know that you're supported. I would say that is like the first step, is just to really start a communication with spirit, with your guides, with angels, with your higher self, with God, goddess, source, universe, and then lean into that communication stream through the trust and through the moments of the unknown.
Mhm. Yep, and take it in small bites, small
Yes.
steps,
Yeah.
and the fear that you felt sitting there with your eyes closed, having the unknown and whether or not you would survive, and having that realization that yes, you did survive. It was just cold. It was not the end of life there. And it's that fear, we place and we often find this fear and uncertainty when we do something we've never done before, but it's not, and it's a lot of times it's a false fear.
Yes.
Now, when we have this instinct, if we are, having a saber-toothed tiger chase us, then that's different. That is a life preserving or a life saving fear. But we've developed this tendency to feel that level of fear just in examining or walking through our everyday lives. And it's really, I mean, the unknown is unknown. It's uncertain. It doesn't make us feel comfortable. It takes us out of our comfort zone. And we've equated being taken out of our comfort zone to fearing for our lives. And it's really stopping us.
Mm.
I think it's important to realize where we are in that little sea between comfort zone and expansion. And the trust that you spoke about and the allowance and doing almost like having a little test or a little exercise and realizing, yes, I am fine. Um, it's I can't even think of how many different things that we can practice this with. But whenever you feel uncertainty or uncomfortable, out of your comfort zone, try and push yourself each day with something that you haven't done before, and try something new, and get over that little bit of I mean, there is hesitancy, there is uncertainty, but it doesn't have to amount to fear.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love that suggestion. And there's a this exercise that comes to mind. If you do find you are trying something new and your body is going into fight or flight, or your body is kind of reacting from fear and putting you in this like kind of stagnant energy, a great exercise is to just start looking at your body. It's like, okay, my fingers are moving, my breath is breathing, my lungs are working, my voice is voicing, I can see. And like by acknowledging what you have in your body, and how everything's okay, it kind of brings your subconscious to like okay, we're safe. And then you can start to look around you and it's like, okay, I might feel like crap right now, but like I have a computer that's working. This mic is working. My room is covering me, the light. And then once you kind of ground into your surrounding again, you ground into your body, then you can start bringing in gratitude, and that helps you to see the beauty in the uncomfortability or in the moment that you stepped forward and now you might be feeling even more uncomfortable. But that allows you to seek comfort in the discomfort.
Yep, yep. Um, Finding and trusting. The fear is often false. In fact, all fear is
Is
false.
false. Yeah.
But fear and faith, um, both requires humanity to believe in something that they can't see. And which one do you choose? Do you choose fear? You can't see it, and do you choose
Mm-hmm.
faith? You can't see it. But both of them require us um, not to see. There's nothing that we can see. So what if we walked in every step in faith, in trust, in knowing? And a lot of this is getting in touch with our soul's vibration. I know I always get back to this, but I'm getting, this is how they want us to be comfortable with allowing our soul to lead us, our spirit, our true essence, our divine spark to lead us. That's who we truly are. And it's what it is it's in that balance of the ego in the fear and the uncertainty and the spirit of the faith and the um, you know understanding that on the other side of that fear is our bliss, following our bliss. Where does our bliss want us to go, and where does our fear want us to go? um, and I'm not saying, there are people who push it to the absolute extremes, but it's uh, there's there, and a lot of times the word that's coming up for me is risk. And there is risk that is not life threatening, and there is risk that is exhilarating. And it's almost like, stage fright when people, before they go out on stage, every time they get nervous and they say, every time, but is there something to be fearful about, or is there an uncertainty, or are they um looking to believe and trust that their soul, their spirit will carry them forward, will allow them to perform in the way that they had anticipated. And it's the trust in ourselves. And when we say the trust in ourselves, it's not the trust in our ego self, it's the trust in our divine spark, our soul's vibration, our expression of our allowing to work in balance with our soul's frequency.
And that is living in authenticity, is working and leading with what feels most right, even if part of me is reacting with fear, like this is where I'm guided, this is where spirit is leading me through my own authenticity, my own vibration. Like, what are you naturally drawn to that might feel a little weird, or that might not make sense to everyone, but you're drawn to it? And that's because spirit is like helping you to light up that authenticity and those gifts within yourself. Like, if you came here, to watch two psychics talk, you are probably hold the same frequency. You probably are resonating with this, and you have these gifts within yourself, and spirit's guiding you to help you see this authenticity within yourself.
Beautiful. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. You're being led here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was just thinking that it's what we're sort of describing and remembering is what we are calling, or what many are calling, the ascension or the shift or the awakening. It's the being asleep and walking on the treadmill, or the hamster wheel. Hamster wheel
Mm-hmm.
is what I like to call it. And you get up, you get your keys, you go to work, and you work and you come home, instead of living your life authentically and through your spirit. We're sort of like just walking through the steps that our fathers or our family, or what's expected of us. And I'm not saying doing what's expected of you is not authentic. I'm just saying make sure it's authentic. Make sure it's something that you want to do. Make sure it's
Mhm.
something that is in balance. But when we go through that automatic kind of blinders on, we sort of lose ourselves. We become like a shell of somebody, and we don't find that joy, that discovery, that adventure that we all are here to experience. And through the change of the dimension, the frequencies, the light codes, the DNA, I mean, there's so many different aspects of the change that is occurring here on Earth through humanity, that is coming online to allow so many people to become more aware and search more for who they truly are, who that authenticity is.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I think it is. It's it's like the grand search is like the word I hear. To look outside of the bounds that you grew up with, to look outside of the programs that you grew up with, start to question really everything that you believe in. And in that questioning, you start to break it down, you start to peel off the layers, and it's like, and then you start to see, okay, who does this actually come from? Like, I don't believe this, I was just told this. And that was like a really big I would say Ascension 101 is just questioning everything. It really does start there. And then when you do kind of start to peel back the layers, then you find that authenticity, you find that most authentic self. And I was told by a wise one that sometimes living in your authenticity can be really lonely at first, because when you start to peel back everything, things start to fall out of your life, whether that be family, friends, or situations, experiences that you thought you were held by. And it can be really hard sometimes to feel alone and to feel like you might be the only one, but we want to invite you and say you are not the only one. And the more you actually start vibrating in your authenticity and holding that frequency, you actually are going to attract beautiful and even more expansive experiences, people, places, things into your life. And so it might look, ascension might look a little rocky at first, but it does get easier. And community, you have a community here. If you're watching this, it's just find those little branches of community through your ascension, and that will really help you, because when you find other people also living in their authenticity, you know you're living in yours. And to when two come together or a group comes together, powerful things can happen. And I think that's really the main aspect that we've lost in humanity, is just community and connection. We came here to connect, and this grand searching, this grand awakening, I think, is bringing us back to those moments of connection and community, and fostering the knowledge that lives within us to bring it together. And then portals around the earth are opening from this.
I love that, and that's a beautiful jumping off point. Let's go back to that portal thing. And I
Mm.
want to say hi to Leona, and thanks for being a member. I'm also offering memberships on my YouTube page, and I do have a members only live stream coming up tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. I just wanted to throw that out there. Hello, Wiki, and hello, Wisdom Seeker Joan. VIP is in the house. Anita and Deanne, thank you everybody for coming. I see you all, and we're having an amazing conversation. And I love when Marissa is bringing up portals. And
Yes.
what I was wanting to connect or to develop this conversation into is connecting to our higher consciousness. What does connecting to our higher consciousness mean to you? And how does that relate to humanity and the ascension? And why is it that people are looking to connect to a higher consciousness?
Wow, this is a big questions. um, let me just see what wants to come
And the
through on that.
portals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. So, coming from a galactic perspective, the first thing that comes to my mind is it's readying us for disclosure, and disclosure of there are other things that exist. Like the questioning starts to break things down, and then we come more into our multidimensionality and our connection to something greater than us, which is a raising of our consciousness to be able to even hold those ideas. If you believe in reincarnation, if you believe in multidimensionality, past lives, if you believe in spirit guides, that is the awakening to our multidimensionality. But where does that lead us, right? Like, where does that take us? And that takes us to understanding that we aren't the only ones in the universe. And so I think it really does kind of, there's a goal here of getting humanity to a place where we can reintegrate our galactic heritage and reintegrate what it actually means to be galactic citizens, and with interacting with other beings in the galaxy and the universe, but also through humanity and through this ascension, we are also coming into the beautiful and divine gifts that we have as hybrid beings, if you will. Like, we are a little bit of every being in the universe. That's what makes humans so special. And so this ascension is just awakening what it is that we can have within our being, and we are healing a lot of karma and past energies, past experiences through this human incarnation, which is then rippling out into the universe and helping to heal other species and races and lineages and ancestors, which is then, I believe, really like going back to source and helping source evolve into its next thing. And so I know I know we were talking about 101, and that doesn't seem like 101. These are very big ideas. But I really do think that is the kind of next step, because yes, we're ascending, but what are we ascending to? And I don't see a lot of people necessarily talk about that, other than like, yeah, we're ascending to 5D. We're ascending to 5D, do all these things to get to 5D, or to get to this place. But like, what does that place actually hold? And I really do think it's the remembrance of who we are in the universe and what our role in the universe is. And that is like master healers of not only the earth, but also the entire universe, because of our genetic hybrid galactic DNA. And then higher consciousness, I think, is just helping us to have a deeper connection really with each other. Not because when we have a higher connection with ourselves and where we come from, whether that's higher self or source over soul, if we have a deeper connection with that, we have a deeper connection with self, and we are able to really do deep healing, which then again ripples out and helps anyone heal. Like, whatever you heal within yourself, if you're healing an addiction, when you heal that addiction within self, you are helping every single person on this planet and in the universe that has a similar addiction, because whatever is happening on the micro level is happening on the macro level. So I really believe humans are extremely powerful, and that is why I often get the question, like, why are aliens into humans? Like, what deal do we hold? Like, why would they be wondering about us? Like, why are we so special? And it's like, we are so special though. Like, that is why they're intrigued in helping us and here to support us. It's because we hold so much power within us, and they want to make sure that that power is used for good. And so raising your consciousness, coming into the light, connecting with these higher vibrational frequencies helps with the healing of our entire universe. But on a deep level, it and a human 3D kind of level, it just helps you to connect deeper to yourself, deeper to the things around you, to the actual earth. I think that has been a big energy that we've forgotten, that we've been taken away from, that we have been programmed to not believe that we live on her. And no, we are her. We live as her. And by her, I mean Gaia, Earth, the elemental energies. And if we can connect back into that and realize those energies are us, and vice versa, we are reflecting, we are of the same frequency, we can then start to maybe see humans in that way too, as, oh, this is my brother and he might be across the world causing war and causing famine, but like, that is a soul who needs love and who has forgotten so deeply. And if we can send that love and connect in that way, that starts to heal, and we start to heal, and then we can all come together in this community and this connection, and then the portals and then the portals start to open up when we have these different collectives all over the earth growing in this way and connecting in high vibration with these expanded thoughts and expanded outlooks, that then starts to create this beautiful light grid. And so I think it's very interesting that Zoom came online when it did, because COVID 2020 was a very huge ascension point. 2022 mirrors 2012 very similarly, as far as a lot of people, it was another like huge wave of people waking up and remembering. I was kind of in that wave when it comes to my like galactic remembrance. And it also invited this kind of space in. You know, if COVID didn't happen, I'm not sure if, you know, StreamYard or Zoom or, you know, we are connecting and we are able to connect in YouTube even. Like, technology is with us and we are meant to like co-create with it. And same with AI. A lot of people are so freaked out by AI, but it gets to be an energy that we like co-create with. And when we co-create with it, we are seeing it again as an energy that is us. It's not something to use or to enslave or to, you know, use for our own benefit. It's something to co-create with. And it's really just learning how to co-create with all of the energies around you, including source, universe, frequency. It's co-creation is definitely higher,
Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
consciousness. That was a very long tangent, but I hope it made sense.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. You really activated a bunch of triggers, or, you know, activations inside of me, and where we wanted to jump off of. I love the co-creation because we are part of it. We are not responsible, but we have a choice. We have I don't want to say responsibility, but we have a part in it. It's our choice, our decisions make a difference into where we go. Each one of us creates with our choices and our decisions, and it's really important to try and be in that non-judgment, in that allowance, and to work on our path, work on our own personal awareness, and to develop this to a sense where we all vibrate together. There are thousands, if not millions, of individuals on this planet already that are already vibrating at this same frequency. It's just brilliant. And from what you were saying, that they allowing humanity to go through this ascension, why it's so important for us to do this right now is that other civilizations in the past have tried and have failed, and we're doing it again, but we're doing it again with so much representation of the galactic realms and
Mhm.
star beings who have this awareness and the ability to wake up and realize who we truly are, and bringing the vibration of heaven, so to speak, on earth, and raising the light and the frequency, allows us to move into that evolutionary change that we're facing right now. We're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of this evolutionary change. We are hoping to move forward to the next generation, to the next evolution of humanity, and raise the vibration and bring in the light, because we are meant to move on, to carry on, to sustain life throughout the universe, because all of our heavy, dense, dark, negative energies that have been playing out on this planet for 2,000 years, so to speak, or 26,000 years, whatever you'd like to say, is causing a reaction in the universe. And it's important for Earth and humanity to rise above, to awaken, to lift, to become a galactic citizen, like you said, and to help this for the entire universe and multiverse, right? It's and we can't be selfish in this way, but there is also a divide, that there are some some who are here to experience the end of that, and others that are here to experience the new birth. And I feel I don't feel, you guys, my spirit guides are kicking my butt, telling me, Jean, you do this, you talk about this, bring this up. And they are bringing this up, and I feel energized, I feel inspired. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, why aren't I one of those people who just live in that other dense, dark realm of, the blinders on and the hamster wheel? It's because I'm uncomfortable there. They make this uncomfortableness inside of me that it's not my authenticity. Why can't you sit in a place of worship and listen to them? Because I can hear the lies, because we're built different, we feel different, we're here on this earth to bring the light. So you doing your part of bringing the light and living your authenticity will vibrate out, and to allow the ascension and the frequency to rise around us. And it doesn't take me, it doesn't take Marissa, it takes each and every one of us to do what we can to live our authentic life, to find out what our soul's desire is, to feel the connection of that divine spark inside of us with the higher consciousness. We are all one consciousness. The humanity is all one. We're just all one consciousness. And to awaken and to be connected to that, or to be aware of that, and to be reminded of that. And I was telling Marissa before we came on, I said, sometimes, and this is just a saying, sometimes I'm all in this higher consciousness, and then I go out back and I yell at the neighbor's dog, and then I come back in and I'm all in this higher. You go in and out, but it is ever expanding, just ever so slightly. And you'll find that each morning when you wake up, you'll know more, you'll feel more yourself, and you'll live more authentically.
Yes, absolutely. Very well said. Full body chills, by the way, when you were talking about all of that, which I love. Especially so something came through with when we were talking about, yes, chills. Yeah, and that's how you resonate with it. This is the timeline that you are on. This is the experience that you are having. You're not part of the blinder crew. You're part of the one that sees it all. And that's why it can feel really dense, but it's because we came here as transmuters. We are participating in the transmutation of those dense and dark frequencies that have been holding the earth and the universe back. And I think that's why it can feel just so heavy and so dense sometimes. It's because we came here to kind of clean up the sludge and move the sludge away, and that's why you might find yourself in some really dense and dark experiences. But know that, like, you are the lighthouse, and it's not just you moving through that, and that comes to the one consciousness. Thank you. That word, that saying was not in my spiel, but I'm so glad you said it, because that's what I was talking about. Was, yes, remembering and coming back to the one consciousness, the connection of we are all the same, we are all one. And with that, when you feel like the lighthouse in the dark sludge, you can tap into that to then ask for support, ask for the light, stream that light in through the connection of the one conscious. It's never just you. It's so much more than us.
Definitely, it definitely is. And being in the non-judgment is really important, I feel, because of how the ego puts us into that judgment. And a lot of it is our judgment of ourselves. And it's important to be in that non-judgment of ourselves. And this is something that has been conditioned and taught into us, or displayed, or we've had examples of it earlier in our
Mhm.
family, in our childhood, where people would judge themselves. And it would almost be like, I don't know, accepted or thought that it was cute if you
Yeah.
said something against, or judged yourself in some way. Like, I don't know how it became that way, but some people say, "Oh, I'm not that great." But I don't know if it's false humbleness or false, I don't know what the actual term is, but it's really important for us to be kind to ourselves, to speak kindly to ourselves, and to be as encouraging and as um, you know giving us the ability to move forward in our own experience, in our own display of who we are and how we are. And this non-judgment that we show to ourselves, and the forgiveness. Like, if I dropped an egg on the ground while I was cooking, instead of saying, "Oh, Jean, you're so stupid, why'd you drop that egg?" I would be like, "Thank you for showing me that I am not perfect, that I drop eggs, and that I have to clean up this mess." It's not
Mhm.
exactly that easy, but it's a way of changing the way we say things about ourselves, and what our expectations are, and who we are, and that we are flawed as humans, and that we're flawed. But it's not only that, there is no perfection. Is dropping an egg a flaw? No, it's just what happens, is being in gravity, central.
Yeah.
The eggs are going to drop. But it's it's really being in non-judgment. Oh, the egg dropped. And
Mhm.
not judging it, not saying it's good, not saying it's bad, not saying it's light, it's a sign. Try not to. It's really in this allowance, and becoming more malleable, and being in allowance. And it's difficult, because sometimes having opinions and judging others is a really deep reflex that we've been taught and displayed. We've had that example displayed to us when we were growing up. That, oh, be careful what people think. Keep up with the Joneses. They have a
Mhm.
new car, you have to get a new car, or you're judging
Mhm.
yourself for what kind of car, if you have a car, or it's important for us to live our authentic life, to allow ourselves the room and the grace to be who and what we are, in the vibration of who and what we are, without any judgment, or you know it's really keeping, it's that limited thinking. And there are and this is what we're taught. It's not, you're like, "Well, Gene, that's all I know. That's what they taught us in school." When you're sitting in school, and the teacher asks you a question, and you go like this to think of the answer, and they're like, "The answer's not on the ceiling." But you know what? The answer is, because that's where we tap into our higher consciousness. The answer was there, but they wanted to keep us limited. And not wanted to, but we were taught to be in this limited type of thinking. And this is us, you know breaking out of that limitation, and going into the infinite possibilities, and being brave enough, and finding that uncomfortableness, the uncertainty that we were talking about earlier, and the unknown of infinite possibilities, but
Mhm.
being excited about it, and trying to manage that uncomfortableness with that excitement.
I'm so glad you mentioned the judgment, because that has been a big Oh, yeah, lesson that I have been learning lately, 'cause and just energy that I get to transmute, because I grew up with a very, very judgmental maternal line. And they were hardest on themselves, and that's why they were hard on others. And from a very young age, that energy is something that I learned, and I've actually been so ready to release this energy, because I see just how blinding it can be to experiencing someone else's highest version of self. Because when you hold a judgment over an experience or a individual, you are actually, like you said, you're limiting an entire perspective that could be shown to you. You're creating a lower vibrational reality of them through that perception. And so if we can release that judgment and maybe just start again questioning, just start to question, okay, why do I feel this way? Why am I holding this? Is it because they did that, and then when I was younger someone always said that thing was bad or wrong? Or are they just at a different frequency than you right now? And that doesn't need to be judged. It can just be witnessed with neutrality and then accepted through playfulness. I love that you said, dropping the egg. It doesn't have to be like oh gosh darn, like that was my last egg or something. Like it's just like, okay, well, that leads to expansion. And maybe, spirit didn't want me to eat that egg, or maybe my body didn't want the egg. And it's like, okay, I got to trust that. And that is too another, like what I was saying at the beginning, finding those moments of trusting, and then you become more validated in that unknown trust. In those moments where maybe you're stuck in traffic and your mind thinks you're running behind, and then you're like, oh, gosh, Marissa, you should have left earlier. Like you're always 10 minutes late. What am I doing? It's like, instead of holding that energy, there's a choice. Like you said earlier, there's a choice. Which one do we get to hold? It feels way better to hold the frequency of like, okay, I trust spirit. I trust that I took that wrong turn and got stuck in traffic. I trust that, I'm meant to be on this road right now. Maybe I'm activating an unseen portal just by being here and holding a frequency. Or maybe I was meant to, wave that car on because that car was having a hard day. And by doing that act of kindness, it helped them raise their vibration. Like you never know. There's so much happening in the unseen. So you never know what your weird predicament is that might actually be serving so much more than you. And so if we can take away that judgment and just hold the vibration, hold that, unconditional love frequency, it will be so much more smoother for us. It will be so much more just align, and we'll be able to attract more
Be in the flow.
experiences.
Be in the
Yes, be
flow
in the
is what
flow.
you're
Thank
looking.
you.
Yep,
Yes,
yep.
yes, be in the flow,
That when you
exactly.
listen, like she's in the flow.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yes, yes. And that's why I love talking with intuitives, because we can finish each other's sentences because we know exactly what we're saying.
Yeah, and I know that many people, all of you here, have had this situation occur, but it never gets old. Every time I was in the car I was driving, and I had a very important family member, my mother, with me, and she's getting older, and she's VIP and precious cargo. So I'm driving, and suddenly I get the inspiration to turn into a neighborhood to check something out. And I'm supposed to be getting her home, and so we just did. And we looked around, and it took maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe, and then we found our way back out of the neighborhood, and we got back on the road, and we came up to an accident that had just occurred. And if
Mm,
I hadn't have turned off and went into that neighborhood, that accident we would have been involved with. She would have, I'm sure everybody was fine, but we would have had to stay there, waited there, whatever. But the instinct, and I was like, and I didn't like question, like I thought I wanted to, but it was such a split decision. And I just went with it, that, oh, I think I'm just going to go down here. And she's like, "What are we going down here for?" And I'm like, "I just want to look around." You wouldn't, you just never know. But I'm sure
mhm.
every one of us have experienced something like that where we made a choice, and then after we made a choice, we realized, oh, that was my spirit guides guiding me, or this was my true vibration or my authentic self listening to the flow of the higher consciousness. I was in
Mhm.
with that. But our ego and our awareness of our ego and who our identity is, and our true identity of our divine self works together, and allowing that to be open and flowing.
Mhm.
It was a lesson for me all over again.
Absolutely. And that brings me back to what you said when we were backstage beforehand when I was talking about my living situation, and I used the verbiage of like, well, it hasn't served me or whatever. And then you stopped me and you were like, wait, like has it served you though? And I'm like, yes, it has served me actually beautifully. Like I do have a space to create. I have a bed to sleep in. I have a kitchen to cook in. It has, and it's close to, one of my avenues for financial income, and I am grateful for that. There's trees everywhere, and it's so easy through the lens of judgment to think everything's going wrong, to think everything is not serving you, to think everything is like horrible and that you're not able to do things because of this certain energy or this certain place. And I'm so grateful this is like such a beautifully timed episode because it's exactly what I needed to hear. That like if you look through the lens of non-judgment and neutrality, you do see how every single thing serves you. Every single experience is leading to expansion. Every single person you meet is leading to expansion. And when you hold that view, you just start to encounter more and more and more expansion, because that is what gets to occur. Whereas the judgment creates that resistance, it creates that like icky feeling, it creates the like closed heart, and you can't expand, you can't receive when you have a closed heart. And I think that's another really important energy when it comes to ascension, is to be open to receiving. And that is really the first kind of way to start connecting with that one consciousness, with the higher realms, with those higher frequencies, even higher version of self. You must receive it in order to be able to follow a hit of inspiration like that. Like you were open to receiving, and that's because your heart is open. That's because you are connected to the flow, but you have to receive the flow first to get into it. It's like entering the Gulf Stream. You got to enter it. You can't just sit on the side and expect, like closed off to it and expecting like, why isn't this happening? It's like you got to jump into the stream to actually receive its medicine.
So the receiving is a trust,
Yes.
and the receiving is the divine feminine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Receiving
Yep.
is a divine feminine. And what are we trying to bring here? What frequency and vibration are we working
Trying to
to bring
balance.
into balance? Is the divine feminine needs to be
Yes.
in balance. And what do we need in order to be divine feminine frequency is the receiving. And what is the receiving? It is allowing and going with the flow and being in that consciousness current. It
And
all ties
creativity
together.
too. Giving
Yep.
creativity and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Everything that the divine feminine, and maybe that should be the topic of our next is what
Yeah.
is the divine feminine energy? And it's
Would
not
love that.
just being a female. There is an energetic force that is the divine feminine. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what gender you're not. It matters what the frequency and vibration of that divine feminine allowance, that receiving, that going with the flow, and non-judgment. It's being in balance with the divine masculine, which we all are and we all need, and to bring back the balance here on earth. And I'm just so looking forward to. I know that people say, oh, I'm not coming back to earth, but I'm coming back. I want to see, I want to know what it's like to have utopia for all of the children. I just know
Oh
that
yeah.
there is this
Mm.
bright, brilliant future that is coming to Earth and to humanity. And I can see, and I feel as though there is this like community and joy and bliss. I really do see this. I really do feel that this is part of our future. And I think that we may have seen glimpses of this in either a, um, a creative description in a book or a movie scene, or but I feel it. I feel it. I know that there is a change happening. I know that there are energies that are being let go, that are being dissolved. I know that there are energies that are coming in to support the higher vibration, the more you know, cooperative, collaborative,
Mhm. Mhm.
and trusting, and just the beautiful existence. And why we know this and how we know this is from our galactic guides are showing us this, that this is possible. It's not just me, Jean, the human, thinking of this. We are allowing this information to come in and to be shown. It is shown to us. It is encouraged through us, and it is the offering comes through us.
Mhm.
But it is such a beautiful, and it's not just. I've always had rose-colored glasses, but it's
Same.
not just rose-colored glasses. It is.
Are you a
Um,
water sign?
I'm not. I'm an Earth sign. I'm a
Oh.
Virgo. Mhm.
Aw, oh, I love that. I'm a Pisces. Yeah, water or rose-colored glasses for sure. I got full body chills again when you were saying the utopia on Earth. And and two, we were born with this energy. Like, I really do believe if you know that vision, it's because you've seen it and your soul implanted that knowing, implanted that vision, implanted that reality within your core so strongly, which also can make you sometimes look at your surroundings and be like, oh my gosh, like, where are we from this soul knowing that I have of what Earth can be? Like, how in the world did we end up here? But we have that code, and let that code like be the light. Let that code like hold that vision so strongly. I get called idealistic all the time, but someone's got to hold the vision, right? Someone's got to hold the vision, because holding the vision is actually what's going to create that reality. And that's what people don't understand. They're again living in that unknown fear, the fear of everything that they see going on around them. But then that fear is taking over their entire being and not even allowing the code to light up or that knowing to be held. And so hold the vision. You might get called rose-colored glasses, optimistic, idealistic, all those things, but delusion has its its positive traits, and I think delusion is really just
Well,
actually sometimes how the universe works.
well, what is delusion? It's not seeing the illusion that life here is an illusion. And being in disillusion is being in infinite possibilities. That's the
Yes. Mhm.
disillusion, right?
Mhm.
Because we're seeing a certain illusion of things here on Earth is an illusion. To be in disillusion, I mean,
Or a
we
delusion,
can.
yeah.
It's important to work on our perspective, our frequency, our vibration, getting to know ourselves, learning a little bit more about who we are and why we're here through meditation, through quiet moments, through, walking in deep thought and
Mhm.
feeling our true essence, feeling, not just thinking, because thinking can often get into that ego, but
Mhm.
work on feeling through your heart. What do you
Yeah.
truly feel? And writing these things down.
Ask your spirit to show you. I ask my feminine spirit and work with my feminine spirit all the time, and I say, "Feminine spirit, show me what it feels like to live utopia on Earth. Feminine spirit, show me what it feels like to live in my authenticity. Feminine spirit, show me what it feels like to live a life of financial wealth." And then your feminine spirit can actually like expand and help you to receive those frequencies. And again, the more you hold the frequency, the more it shows up in your outside reality.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Well, I encourage everybody here to put in questions below after the show. If there's something that we are sort of reviewing or sharing today that you have a question about, or something that you want to know a little bit more about, or maybe we're assuming that you are understanding what we're referring to, any questions that you have, so that we can come back and talk a little bit more about it. But I would love to talk a lot more about that divine feminine, what it is, how to receive, how to recognize it, where to connect to it, and just so much more. But thank you very much, Marissa, for coming and having this high vibrational conversation with all of us today. And thank you all for being here, for holding your energy and vibration. It really does help to support us through this creation. And I know that Marissa knows this, but I want to let you all know this, that we are speaking from our divine aspect. We are allowing our souls to come through and to give us the words. We are trusting that the information and the way, what's important for all of us to know right now is coming through us, because we're tapped into that higher consciousness. We're not tapped
Mhm.
into our ego, because if we were tapped into our ego, we'd be like, Gene, what's that point on your head? What, your glasses are wrong. What's wrong? We'd be, it would be all these distractions. But no, we
Mhm.
let go of all of our feelings, thoughts, and ideas. We allow this spirit to come through us, and we express this way. And I feel that from you, Marissa. You allow yourself to come through with spiritual messages, with spiritual, vibrational, divine messages, divine information, and frequency that comes through you. So
Thank
I
you.
love that about you, Marissa.
Thank you. I love that too. It's my favorite thing. Whenever we talk, we're both getting pings and soul activations, and it's so grateful to be here, and also divine timing for this episode. It was exactly what I needed. Truly,
Oh,
I could tear up because I feel like sitting in frequency with you. It's just, it brings me back into that remembrance when that Scorpio full moon a couple weeks ago just really rocked my boat. So I'm so blessed to just sit with
well,
such a beautiful and aligned being like yourself.
oh, thank you. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for being so vulnerable and sharing that, because some people may be in a tough spot right now
Yeah.
who are listening here today as well. But well, I'm gonna. What do you have coming up? Do you have anything that you would like to announce?
Just the podcast. I have some great guests coming up. We're going to be diving into more of the kind of galactic energies, the light language energies and activations. And then just stay tuned to my YouTube. I'm going to be doing a 21 days of light language here soon. So if you're interested, or maybe you feel drawn to this, but you aren't sure what light language is, this will be a great 21 days to kind of receive free activations from me and to see how it flows through my body. And it can activate your own light language as well. So stay tuned to my Instagram and YouTube, Earth to Marissa, on both of those for some fun light language activations.
Beautiful. I love that. And again, Marissa's links and information is
Yeah.
in the show notes below. And I will be later today, I'll be on Bobby Fierro's show, and he's going to be doing an interview with me. And I'll send out that link to in our community page, or in the post page. And then later on this afternoon at 4:30, I'm on with Terry Suzuki and Pure Visionary Terry Lee for our Psychic Triad show. So I'm really looking forward
Oh,
to
that's
that. So
fun.
please do stick around. Come on back. Watch for your notifications. And one other thing I wanted to announce is that we're doing a chakra healing workshop. And I say workshop because we're going to teach you, we're going to have you learn, and then we're going to practice it together. And you'll learn about the chakras, you'll learn how to heal the chakras, and then you'll practice and experience what that feels like. So I feel it's more of a workshop than like a class, not just that you're sitting there, you're participating. So, and that is on May 31st. It's Saturday the 31st, and it's 3 p.m. Eastern and 12 noon Pacific. And I'll be facilitating that. That is a private class, and it's on Zoom. And if you're interested, you can just contact me on my contact page through my website. It's sunpsychicgene.com/contact. And you can just let me know that you're interested in the chakra healing workshop. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That sounds fun. Cool.
I know. Again, it's spirit led, spirit
Mhm.
guidance. They're saying
Always,
go back to it. I'm so
always.
excited. Well, thanks again for joining me, Marissa, and thanks again everybody for being here and
Thank
supporting us.
you.
We really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful
Absolutely.
afternoon, everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again.